Hi everyone, and welcome to a reading for Nature Connection. I wonder how you're all doing. Right here where I am, it is undoubtedly spring. We did have a few days of warm weather, but it's like one day it's in the 60s and 2 days later it snowed, and then 2 days later they all melted off. And spring is unpredictable as it needs to be here in the mountains. And today I feel like I want to do a reading that goes a little deeper. So I'm gonna use two decks, and it will be about how we can connect with nature spiritually, but also kind of what message does the land have for us? What's the conversation that we could be having? And it is something I feel like more than some other days that could help us feel like we have support in each other, we have an ally in each other. And of course that's kind of the basis of nature spirituality, is we believe in a higher power that's beyond all nature, and also the subtle powers and energies that is within nature. And so we want to we want to nurture that bond. Okay, so let's take a moment to ground, feeling the earth beneath us, feeling the air flowing around us, feeling light, feeling sensations of warmth or cold. Feeling everything that nurtures us. Food, the water. Thank you, Mother Earth, for all you share with us. And let's see. What is the message from Earth? What is the message? What is the message about how we can be your ally in your family? Okay. So first, right, something to keep in mind. Okay. Let's get more cards from a Rabbit Oracle. Okay, so on the first row here, we have a DNA for karma, we have full moon for completion, we have iceberg for submerged. So it is, I think we are indeed being called to think about the deep connection we have on our natural environment. The history of human is so short compared to how all the animals and plants and have been growing and evolving on this planet, and much even longer to think about just the rocks, the minerals, how this landscape has grown to become inhabitable, for life to emerge for us. And so there's different types of history there to think about. And what it does, it helps us get out of our human-centered mindset when we think about how the world can operate without us at all. Are we a part of the balance, a part of ecology, a part of the network, or are we only that to an extent and just kind of become something extra, a burden, a disruptor maybe? Does the balance of the ecosystem really need us? And that is not to say yes or no. That is to have us have a broad, help us have a broader perspective when we think about our relationships. And there is a sense of urgency on this kind of on this kind of work of introspection, because in our world this idea is not supported. It could be it's wisdom and used to be common sense maybe long time ago, or today only within certain cultures. And we really suppress that way of thinking. It's not practical, it's not beneficial to human, and all these other reasons. We're not used to seeing, we're not used to seeing beyond the obvious anymore. We're so wired for short attention span, or looking for the most visible accomplishment, most outrageous change in the world, that we've lost touch with anything, with so many things that's subtle and nuanced. So the landscape here really points to things that we don't think about on a everyday basis when we're involved in activities that just really removed from our living environment. And so that, along with looking into history, learning from the past, the local history, local nature, maybe go join a tour with their natural area, or read books about who used to occupy here, what the landscape, maybe history of geology there. There are many different things we can do, and many angles to look into what you're interested. But expand the timeline, and expand the broadness of perspective on how you think about, on how you relate to the place you reside in. How to do that, how to make that connection is maybe a lot more lighthearted than we expect that kind of work to be. It can be really really serious and sacred work to learn about our ancestor, learn about the earth, and learn about our surroundings. But as we welcome spring, going on a walk, going to the library, if you think about the layers of energy that we have, we can learn about things on a intellectual level. That's reading books, that's maybe going on walks with a guide. It can be very physical, where we really deeply touch the soil. We really lean close to see that tiny speck of green grass coming out after the dead winter. We can really have our hands touch how wet the soil is, how wet a rock is, and we have those emotional levels we can work on. We can romanticize all this a little bit. We can journal or write poetry. We can use our imagination on what's happening around us. And so, like these two cards, we have Swamp and Dream, that encourage us to use our creativity, leaning to our intuitions. If we start any kind of creative project, using the blank canvas and reminding us to just try to be free. The goal is not to paint something pretty. The goal is to let out and get in touch with our creative and non-censored side, on just learning to express And by expressing, we open up ourselves and melt down some barriers, and we might receive more of those intuitions and emotions that help us have a freer, wider view of things. So, maintaining an outlook that there is beauty in the world, and even with maybe some of the heavier stuff or the more formidable things that doesn't make us feel good, we want to, we'll be reminded that that heaviness is part of our story, part of history, and even part of the natural laws. And we get to see how nature, how people respond. There are beautiful stories that will inspire us when we are brave enough to look into other people's lives. We're being asked to expand, to widen, to increase our points of contact, points of perception. And I think this really shows it all the different things we can do in life. We can be relaxed and receptive. We can be active and curious, and we can use our human ingenuity to create, to imagine and connect things, connect the dots. I will say this deck right here, Earth Magic deck by Stephen D. Farmer. It always has a very, very grand and very earthy feeling that sometimes intimidates me a little. It is not light or fluffy energy of the earth. It is talking about the things that are here and the real energy they have and how sacred and important they are. But at least in this reading, it serves as a backdrop, a landscape, and I think we don't need to sugarcoat it. We are feeling a lot of heaviness and sense of urgency. And so this is just spelling out for us, but we want to, whether it's from a place of love or hope or self-care, there are different ways we can work with those heavier energies. It's not a bad thing. It might be harder, but our day-to-day is more than that. We will learn to flow with the different types of attitude and activities that we can do. I wonder which of these cards, which of these bunny cards do you like the most? You can share with me. I definitely long for this kind of state of being open and learning to find maybe at least 2 short breaks in my days, even on not busy days, even on non-busy days. I want to check if I have that stillness and openness, spaciousness to be able to connect with others. And I also really do want to, it's showing dream as in the subconscious, but I think that also you can see the quilt. I think that also relates to more conscious activities of art and creativity. And so I hope this reading, these messages bring you some peace, some connections, and some sense of hope. And I'll see you in another reading.